What's up? Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Koss, and you are in the right spot. This is where we discuss real life, real problems with real people. You're going to get unstuck. Now, while you're at it, make sure you subscribe and share this with a loved one. Let's get ready to get unstuck. Coach, is it possible to be a good father if you've never had one? So this question comes up often in our world, but often to me as well. So let's talk about it. Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Koss, and today we're going to talk about the subject, can you be a good father if you've never had one? Before we even jump in, make sure you subscribe so that we can help more people with our message and our podcast. So the question is deep. It can be complicated, but we want to simplify it and give you some solutions. Maybe you'll find some additional ones in your own personal pursuit, but just to give you some general solutions. So I used to believe, and I used to say this a lot of times before I had my youngest. So my oldest is my stepdaughter, and I came into her life around 12, 13. So there was a lot that already happened before I got into her life. My now 4-year-old, before she was born, when my wife got pregnant with her, the first thought that came to my mind, I'm not going to lie to you, was I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how I'm going to raise her. When I found out that Aaliyah was a girl, my wife thought that my heart sunk because she was a girl and I wanted a boy. That wasn't it. My heart sunk because I was like, I gotta be something that I never saw modeled in front of me. Now, most women, not all, can say that they saw their mother be a mother to them. If you guys hear some banging, there's some housework going on, so bear with us. They've seen their mother be a mother to them of some sort. And this is not men against women. That's not my jam on this podcast. My podcast is getting people unstuck in life with real problems, real people, real solutions. They've seen their mother be a mother in front of them, so it's modeled a little differently. With that being said, I'm pausing because I'm trying to word this so it doesn't come across offensive. With that being said, most black men have never had that, and I'm speaking from a black man's perspective. I'm not saying that all black men, but most black men have never had a father, or they've never seen that modeled in front of them. With that being said, it can be really, really challenging to become something that you've never seen. We created a group called King's Talk, and the whole purpose of King's Talk, who's actually a sponsor of this, is to give men answers, give men a place to vent, outlet, and a place to support each other, because we've never had that. So I thought when she was born that I'm not going to be able to even be a good father because I've never seen this thing modeled in front of me. Which brings me to my first point, acknowledgement. Acknowledging where you're at. Acknowledging that, hey, I may have never seen this before, and acknowledging what you're going to do about it. That's called taking responsibility or ownership. And I know that's like a foreign world in our day now because, like me, it's easier to blame somebody else. It's easier to blame our parents. It's easier to blame the system. It's easier to blame other things. So I'm not saying that we don't want to. It's easier to do that, but we have to acknowledge, I'm in this predicament now. What do I need to do? So acknowledging that, hey, I never saw this, but I'm going to make the best of it as much as I can. That was hard. When I saw her actually born, something in me turned on to say, she's your responsibility. Let's figure this thing out. And I had to acknowledge that there was things I didn't know. I had to acknowledge and learn the hard way that there are things now that you have to change. I had to learn the hard way. There are some sacrifices that will be made. And I didn't like it at first. I'm going to be honest. But one of the sacrifices was definitely sleep, right? Me and my wife, we would share time or switch on and off of getting up. I remember I've always been an early riser, but I remember like Aaliyah waking up like every 2 hours, getting up and feeding her and laying her on my chest and all of these things. But I acknowledge that, hey, I never saw this, but I'm going to make the best of it. It's actually what got me into therapy, because I realized I don't want to hand off to her some of these I don't want to say traits, but I don't want to hand off to her my trauma. Let's put it that way. I had to acknowledge I never saw this. I need to do something about it, and I need to hand off to her better. Let me see if I can word it right. I need to hand off to her better habits, better thought patterns that I have at this moment, and a lot of my stuff is wrapped up in trauma. So going to therapy made me realize that, hey, you can do this a better way now. I had to also acknowledge that I'm not going to be perfect doing it, which was hard. You're not going to get everything right. You're going to yell sometimes. You might snap sometimes. You might feel overwhelmed. Like last week in itself, I literally told my wife, I feel completely overwhelmed with both of the daughters being home this summer. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I think we have to be okay voicing that, especially as a dad, because dads usually voice what they feel. And let's just put this out here since we're talking. Most people think that all dads are just lazy. Maybe your dad or maybe your husband, but there's a lot of dads out here that's still pouring into their kids. Let's pause. While you're at this, please make sure you subscribe and share this with a friend who needs to hear this. So I have to acknowledge. The second thing is I had to give myself grace. This is still one that I struggle with, because I'm still growing as a person. Part of my therapy was deeply rooted in my dad not being there for me, my dad abandoning me. So a lot of the work in therapy, I had to turn grace on for myself. Hey, Drew, no, your dad wasn't there. Yes, it affected you. However, as you're healing, give yourself grace, because if you know anything about healing, it never comes in one wave, and it's usually layers. And I had to realize, hey, there are some layers to this healing thing. Let's let it take time. Let's keep moving, but let's let it take time. It's like if you had to heal from a surgery, your mind will tell you, we're ready. We're ready to go back out there. And it's not really healed until your body almost tells you that it's healed. And we've all known that if you've had an injury of any sort and you've gone out and you've did your thing, you've known pretty fast, like I came out too soon. I did this way too fast. I need to go back to the drawing board and let myself heal. So I have to give myself grace. To this day, I still have to give myself grace that I'm not going to get it perfect every day. I'm not going to be able to meet all of her needs the way she wants it every day. I'm not even capable of meeting all my needs the way I want to every day. So giving myself grace, if you're a dad, if you're a father, and you're trying, you're trying, give yourself grace. If you know you're not trying, acknowledge why you're not trying and go fix that. I don't care how wrong I might be on this one, I'm never going to put the onus on the kid to make the relationship with the parent better of any sort. That's the parent's responsibility. My daughters will never be responsible for making their relationship right with me as long as I'm alive. That's my job. So number one was acknowledging where I'm at. And number two was giving myself grace. And the last one is it takes a village. This is one that I haven't mastered at all. I haven't mastered the other two, but this is one that I need more work in. This could be because trust issues. This could also be for just having, I don't want to say having people around, but having a village. You cannot, as a father, I'm going to say the village you first need is the village around you. Shout outs to King's Talk. By the way, King's Talk is a free men's group online. I'll put the link in the show notes. Feel free to join. But you need men around you who can help you so that you can help this kid. The reason why you need men around you first as your village is because if you're not poured into, if you're not aligned, if you don't have supporters when you need to talk, vent, yell, cry, celebrate, it's going to be a real hard, lonely road. So usually when we say it takes a village, we usually refer that to it takes a village as in for the kid. Yes, that's true. But it also takes a village or a support system for the father, the mother. Today we're talking about dads. So for the dad, that reason is because he's probably never been a dad before. Even if he has, every kid is different. So it takes that, and men do not have that. Men do not have that. That's why we created King's Talk, to give men a space to be able to get that and to do that and to be with other men and realize, hey, you don't do it that way next time because it's going to lead to this. If you keep yelling, it's going to lead to this. Or if you don't hug, she's not going to feel affection. If you don't show up at the game, there's so much details and pieces of raising kids that we need a village. We need people around us who can support us, who can talk to us, who can speak into us, because it is rough. Do not get into being a parent thinking that it's going to be all pancakes and syrup and cupcakes and just high moments. No, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be in an MMA fight and a jiu-jitsu tournament every week. So you need a village. With all of these points, being a dad is challenging and it's rewarding at the same time. First, I see myself in my little girl. Second, being able to see yourself change and being able to help this new person discover life with the work that you've done and with the help of God is amazing. And then lastly, my daughter, she's not up right now, but when she's around, even when she's just chilling, she's like on me or around me. And I needed that more than I thought, because she just shows me the power of love. I've never felt love turn on so easy until I saw my daughter. And with that, I realized I could never leave her. I could never just abandon her. I gotta figure this thing out. So yes, it's a road of figuring things out, but we have a group. If you would like to join, that's called King's Talk, where you can talk about these things. We can get answers. And the beauty of that is you're not going to be judged. Make sure you subscribe to this show. Share it with a friend who you love so we can help more people get unstuck in life. Be great. Be great. I'm out. I cannot say thank you enough for listening to this episode. Do me a favor, subscribe and share it with a friend. Help us help more people as we share a message of getting unstuck with real life problems with real people solving them. Be great.